Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship Tournament Special Selection Report. As you know, last week, NWA Executive Director Bob Troit stripped Christian Cage of the famous 10 pounds of gold and declared the world title vacant, leaving the NWA Board of Directors no other choice but to hold a tournament to crown a new champion. On Saturday, May 19th in Charlotte, North Carolina, Troit sat in on a special selection round table and had these words to say about his landmark decision to end ties with Total Nonstop Action Wrestling.
I got to tell you, it wasn't easy, and I don't know about shaking the world, but I think it's going to result in a brand new day for the National Wrestling Alliance. I was fortunate enough to be named the executive director of the NWA last October. One of the main marching orders I got from our members and our promoters was, Bob, we've got these great wrestlers working in our territories and in our local promotions. What do we have to do to get them shots at the NWA World Heavyweight Championship? It's our title. What do we got to do to get these guys shots? And I pledged to the members at that point that I'd work for them. We were in a contractual relationship with another entity. There were different steps we had to go through. As the months went on, it just got more and more frustrating. To be honest with you, I'm on the phone trying to get shots for some of the names you're going to hear tonight. While you'll turn on your TV set and a wrestler who's been retired for 5 years all of a sudden comes out of retirement and is thrust into a title shot because he's got a name people recognize and some nice face paint. It got very frustrating month after month, and then I started getting the calls and the emails and finally the videos from the wrestlers themselves saying, begging, demanding, pleading, characterize it however you wish, what do we have to do to get a shot at this title? It became apparent to me that I was getting nowhere. Something had to be done. Before I was executive director, I was fortunate enough to be legal counsel for the NWA for 15, 20 years. I've been in title controversies. I'm not a stranger to them. Didn't want to have to go through another one. But we are on the verge of a new day in the National Wrestling Alliance, and there's so much talent out there, we couldn't wait any longer. It was a big step, but it was one that I had to take.
Strong words from our leader indeed. Now, if I may, I see this situation as a huge opportunity for fighters who otherwise would only be able to compete for regional championships. As Bob stated, the territory system here in the NWA is incredibly strong. I believe it to be stronger than it's been in decades. There are some names we're going to announce here for this tournament that a lot of you fans may not be familiar with. These are regional stars that are going to get the opportunity to fight for the most prestigious prize in our industry. They're going to have their destinies in their own hands, and this was simply not the case before Bob's big decision. Okay, folks, here we go, the participants in this tournament. Each one of these men is 4 wins away from being the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. They are Aaron Aguilera, the shooter Brent Albright, Claudio Castagnoli, the Canadian bomber Nelson Creed, the American Dragon, Brian Danielson, Prince Fergal Devitt, Mikey Nichols, Usamu Nishimura, Chad Parham, Pepper Parks, the Scrap Iron Adam Pierce, Roughneck Ryan, Fred Sampson, Glamour Boy Shane, Psicodelico Jr., and number 16, Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne. Wow, wrestling fans, that's one incredible list. Bob Troit, hats off to you and the NWA promoters who've assembled this incredible field. Now here's Bob with more comments on how these men were selected.
Well, thank you, David. I don't get any of the credit. It wasn't easy putting this together, but basically this is the type of talent that's out there in the NWA. It was simply a matter of me getting on the phone with the members, with the promoters. The hard part was paring the list down to 16. Quite honestly, we could have done 32, we could have done 64. But we would have been here all year trying to pull off a tournament of 64 wrestlers.
And we sure know we don't have that much time.
Exactly, as deserving as they may be. So we selected the 16 who we think are the top of the list. And we think this will be a tremendous tournament that will run throughout the summer and keep NWA fans watching and waiting.
Ladies and gentlemen, the tournament officially begins Saturday, June 2nd in 3 locations, and the semifinals will take place in mid-August 2007. A location for the finals is to be determined, and our home office has been bombarded with calls from promoters from all over the globe wanting to host this history-making finals match. Now to the first round matchups and their locations. On Saturday night, June 2nd, Chad Parham meets Mr. Mid-Atlantic, Jamian Wayne, in Cornell, Georgia. Also on June 2nd, Aaron Aguilera takes on current NWA Heritage Champion Scrap Iron Adam Pierce in Thayer, Missouri. And ending the opening night, the shooter Brent Albright goes up against Japanese superstar Osamu Nishimura. On June 9th in Mesa, Arizona, you'll see Fred Sampson versus Puerto Rico standout Glamour Boy Shane. On Saturday, June 16th, there are 2 locations. If you're in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, you will not want to miss the American Dragon Bryan Danielson meet the Bomber Nelson Creed. And the folks in the northeastern part of the United States, Claudio Castagnoli taking on Midwest star Pepper Parks. We end June in the first round on Saturday, June 30th, with 2 dates as well. First in Lebanon, Tennessee. There, that'll be the site for the terrible one himself, Roughneck Ryan, versus second-generation Lucha Libre star Psicodelico Jr. And back in the New England area with multi-time European champion and current New Japan standout Fergal Devitt going nose-to-nose with the pride of Perth, Australia, Mikey Nichols.
What I've got here, Dave, what I've got here, this is everything that wrestling is. This is wrestling, what I've got in my hands. This is the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. This is what you train all the years for. This is what you put in all the hard work. This is what you take the 40-hour flights for to get here. This right here, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And now I've just been told that I, Mikey Nichols, am going to be a part of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship tournament. Now everyone out there, everyone back in Australia, they all know who I am. Back in Australia, I'm Mikey Nichols, but here and to the rest of the world, you may not know who I am. You may not know the name Mikey Nichols. But it wasn't so long ago that you people around the world didn't know the names Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. People around the world didn't know who Dusty Rhodes was. But then, after winning this belt, after they became NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the world knew them. The world remembered them. The world knew them as NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And so, I've just been filled in June 30th. It's going to be Mikey Nichols against Prince Fergal Devitt. Now, me and Fergal, we go back a little bit. We've got a little bit of history. See, we wrestled around the world together. We wrestled in LA together. We wrestled in Japan together. But come June 30th, Fergal, when I'm looking across the ring, I'm not going to see my friend. I'm not going to see the guy that I wrestled around the world with. What I'm going to see is my first step, my stepping stone on my way to taking this NWA World Heavyweight Championship back, taking this back to Australia, returning to Australia a hero, returning to Australia a legend. And so June 30th, Fergal, I'm going to be fair dinkum with you, mate. It's going to be you laying in the middle of the ring, me standing above, my hand raised in victory as I take that first step towards the NWA World Heavyweight title.
Yes, folks, excitement's in the air, and again, these young, hungry competitors are set to show the world what the NWA and true pro wrestling is all about. In closing, the NWA would like to thank all of you for your support for these some 6 decades. We'd also like to thank the host promoters, and especially our old pal Sheldon Goldberg of New England Championship Wrestling. It's nice to see you back associated with our storied organization, Sheldon. Finally, we'd like to leave you these comments from Bob Trowbridge from the other night. Good luck to all the participants, and thank you for joining us for this selection report. For the National Wrestling Alliance, I'm David Marquez.
Well, all we ask, David, is that folks tune in. If they'll watch, they will see the best in professional wrestling. Give us a chance. That's all we need.